So today we have a little change in scenery. We have the carpet, but the kitten, the loom, and the tutorial is still pretty much the same. Today we will be making loom knitted pumpkins, and they literally only take about 20 to 30 minutes to make. So there are two different size looms that you can use to make your pumpkin. I prefer using the 12 peg loom because it's faster and it's easier to handle, so as a beginner that might work better for you, but you can make an even bigger pumpkin on the 24 peg loom, and if you have enough yarn you can even go on the biggest loom in the set, which is a 41 peg loom. So that would be a really big pumpkin, but that would be really cool. So if any of you do happen to do that, please share it to me privately through Pinterest, and I will be sure to post that on my Pinterest boards because that would be so legendary. Then you're going to need your normal supplies, such as your yarn. I'm using just some scrap yarn. It is basic yarn. I don't even know what it's called. I lost the label. It's basically some scrap yarn. Just use anything that you have lying around. This stitch will work really well with any kind of yarn. This is a number 5 bulky weight. I would recommend using a bulky weight just because it's a lot easier to work with as a beginner, and then use something to stuff with. I'm using scrap yarn to stuff my project with instead of stuffing because it saves me money on stuffing, and scrap yarn is a great way to stuff your projects. Fun fact. Then you're going to need your normal stuff like scissors. You will need a yarn needle, and if you need one, and measuring tape. I just eyeball my projects, so I'm not going to use that, but you can if you want to. He's not biting me that hard, but kind of mean. I'm trying to film. Can't you see that? Go over there. Going to film now. Wait, don't chew on that. He has little wrestling matches sometimes. I sometimes participate in them with him, but typically I don't. Stop. He's not even biting me, he's just mouthing me. It's weird. Can I return back to filming, please? I know, you just want the attention so bad. You want the audience to know that you exist. Well, I think you've made that very clear. So, off you go. Ozzy, I'll get the spray bottle out. I will, sir. Oh my gosh. Sir. Excuse me, sir. Okay, so here is my 12 peg loom, time to focus, and we're gonna start off by making our traditional slip knot. Don't know how, just tie a knot to the anchor peg. If you don't have an anchor peg, just put your loop on the first peg of the loom. Doesn't really matter, it's pretty flexible. You just need something to hold your stitch on as you cast on. Then we're going to do a drawstring cast on. I've shown these before, they're pretty simple. What you do is you start weaving your yarn back and forth, in and out, side to side, through all of your pegs. So you're just gonna go in and out, kind of like a star, and then you'll come back to the beginning, and you should have your yarn behind the first peg when you do this, and you'll stretch your yarn over all of the pegs like this and just lay it over. Then you'll brace your yarn and make a U shape over the last peg, and you should have 2 loops. You're going to lift the bottom loop over the top loop, and then every other peg you'll work backwards and lift the bottom loops over the top loops. It's pretty self-explanatory, it's really easy. You're just securing this and creating a drawstring so eventually you can close it. And it's perfectly normal that the first peg does not have a loop on it. You are just going to lay your yarn over that peg as if it doesn't exist, and you're going to the second peg. Now, we're going to do a 2-stitch combination for this entire project. It's really simple. You are going to U-wrap knit the second peg, and then for the next 2 pegs, you're going to purl. So, you U-wrap knitted second peg. So pretend that you already knitted the first peg, then you just U-wrapped knitted the second peg. Now you are purling the 2 pegs. So you purl 2 pegs and you U-wrap 2 pegs. So basically the pattern is U-wrap 2, purl 2, U-wrap 2, purl 2. So then after the purl, you would obviously have done a U-wrap 2-stitch combination. So you can do stitch markers or tape on the pegs in case you forget where you started, but since this is such a small loom and such a small pattern, I actually can know where I started by the shape of the stitches and counting my pegs. So I'll say, okay, these 2 I U-wrap knitted, then the second 2 I purled, and then the third set I U-wrap knitted. So every 2 pegs you're going to do that 1 stitch double combination. Sounds really confusing, but obviously it looks pretty simple. So it's basically U-wrap and purling the entire way around the loom, and you're going to do this until you have your desired length. Remember that this stitch does stretch, so you don't want it to get too crazy long. You're gonna have like a bean-shaped pumpkin and it's not going to stand up on its own, so make sure you know that. Leave a little bit of room for your project to stretch out when you stuff it. So here is my finished length after doing the 2 wraps and 2 purls combination. Now it's time to bind off, so grab your scissors and your yarn needle. So wrap your yarn all the way around the loom and then wrap a little bit more, just about halfway, and then you'll cut the yarn with your scissors. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can use your needle to do this, or you can use your hook. Personally, I think the hook is a lot faster, but if you wanted to, you could literally take the needle and go through the bottom up through the stitches and just drag your yarn all the way through, but the hook works a lot faster. So you're just going to go down through the first loop as if you're purling, except you're going to take your yarn all the way through until it's been secured onto that loop. Then you're just going to go through the rest of them at your own pace. I do this really fast just because I've done it a lot. On your last loop and have finished, then you're just going to go backwards and pop all of your loops off of the pegs. Once you've done that, you're going to lift the project all the way through the loom, and there you go. You have the shell of your pumpkin, and you're just going to start stretching the stitches now. It's really fun. So the U-wrap causes the project to stretch, so that's why I told you not to knit too long. So I got it just at the right perfect length, and you're going to take one side, doesn't really matter, and you're just going to pull the drawstring closed almost all the way. Don't close it all the way because you want to make sure you can fit your yarn needle through. So you're just going to close it, and then you'll find your yarn needle and thread it through that one loop. Once you've done that, then you're going to go through the hole that you created with the drawstring, and you'll flip the project inside out. Once you've done that, you're just going to sew in a circle. You don't need to have any prior sewing experience. I still don't know how to sew, and I loom knit, so you're not going to have too difficult of a time just finding some loops and securing it. Then you'll make a couple little knots, weave it in a little bit into the fabric, then cut it and turn it right back, right side out. Then, before you close the top too, you're going to take some of your scrap yarn that I mentioned earlier, or you can use actual stuffing, doesn't really matter, and you'll start stuffing the inside with whatever you have. You're going to actually close the pumpkin, and you'll close it as tightly as you can. You want it as plump as you can get it, but not too plump. And you'll sew in a circle. Make a tiny knot through the bottom. then weave in your yarn. I just go into the fabric and come out the bottom of the pumpkin, and I'll cut it from there. And you're basically done. There are a few things you can do. You can add some accessories. In this case, what I did is I went outside and it was raining, so I had to dry off a stick that I found. But I found a stick, and there's the turkeys. As you can see, they were really fun. And there's a few things you can do for a stem. Get as creative as you want. I can do some stem tutorials later, and I can even do a big giant pumpkin tutorial. That would be really cool. I actually want to do that. And then I could show you how to make a huge giant stem on the 24 peg loom. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was really fun and really easy. I have a lot of schoolwork going on, so it's nice to have a nice easy project. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please show your support by subscribing and commenting and liking. It's not a lot, just little things. I really appreciate every little comment, and I also appreciate every new subscriber I get. I'm getting close to 70 subscribers, and I'm super excited. So please share with your friends. I'm sure that they'd want some fun activities like these to do after school or when they're bored, because it's really fun, and these pumpkins literally only take 30 minutes to make. I'm serious. You can even sell these. I'm sure people would buy these. So try your hand at pumpkin loom knitting and get creative with them, and make sure that you don't forget to share your pictures or your results on Pinterest with me. Alright, until next time, Raylight Knits out.